Sorry, it was loose. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Village of Gurnee Planning and Zoning Board for this Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020. Could we have a roll call, please?
Bow. Garrity. Nordentoft.
Here.
Paff.
Here.
Pasak.
Here.
Riley.
Here.
Sula.
Present. We do have a quorum. If everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need to mention that in accordance with the current COVID relaxation of some of the meeting rules, that we're allowed to have some of our attendees be participating in the meeting remotely. We learned something new last week, that we can't do roll call votes anymore. We can't do voice calls anymore. So, like in the past where we've done like approval of the minutes where I've said all in favor, we can't do that anymore, and we can't adjourn the meeting that way either. So, while we're in remote mode, we need to, we actually have to do roll call votes and everything. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, correct, Tracy?
Correct.
For a special use permit for Sherwin-Williams located at 6300 Route 132 to allow a second wall sign. Who's giving staff report?
Claire.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Clara?
Brad Workman with Van Signs, Inc. on behalf of Sherwin-Williams is requesting a special use permit to allow the installation of a second wall sign on the north wall of the building at 6300 Route 132, Suite C. The proposed sign on the north wall is identical to the existing 48 square foot sign on the south wall and meets the sign code requirements, except the sign code allows only one wall sign for this store. As with all special use permits, the Planning and Zoning Board will make a recommendation that will be forwarded to the Village Board for their determination. The applicant is in attendance remotely.
Okay, thank you, Clara. At this time, Brian, would you like to swear in the?
Yes, anyone that will be giving testimony, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Workman.
Yes, so thank you for having me today and doing this remotely. It's a beautiful night outside, by the way, so as soon as you can get back out there, it's good. So, but yeah, Sherwin-Williams is requesting another wall sign here on the back of the building, as this view, as shown on the photo rendering here, is really the one that greets you as you come into the parking lot. So aside from a multi-tenant sign at the, I'll call it the ring road, right, behind the store, between that and the buildings behind it, you know, this is what a customer would drive into, and without this sign, it's a little bit confusing as to where the store actually is. They would have to try to meander all the way around into the front and find it that way. So Sherwin-Williams sees value in this, and I believe that customers do as well. But yeah, everything is identical as with the sign on the front. So it's really all I have.
Okay, at this time, we'll move to members of the Planning and Zoning Board. Anybody have any questions or comments?
No.
Dave?
Just a comment, I guess. My initial thought on this, based on the information that was provided by staff in our packet, would lead me to believe that not only the developer, but also the petitioner, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, you know, understood what the sign code entailed at the time the building was developed, and that the tenant took the space and opted to not do the things that would have allowed for this to be done by right. Am I missing anything in this?
I don't believe so. Tracy?
So when the building was constructed, we did alert the developer that the number of signs would be tied to public entrances and windows. I went back and I just double-checked that to make sure that we did that, and we did. So yes, they were aware of that at the time that the building was constructed.
To me, there doesn't seem to be an overly compelling reason to deviate from what the code allowed, especially, in my opinion, if all parties involved through this entire process from the point of time when the building was developed and so forth understood what the code entailed, that there needs to be a deviation from that. So that's at least my initial take on it.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. Edwin?
I have to agree with Dave that, yeah, I'm having a hard time, although there's a sign on the back of the building already, and I don't think it'd look all that odd. I don't see any exceptional issues with this building that would allow this. I know that we brought up the Hellsberg Diamond Store, but I don't see that as the same thing. The Hellsberg Diamond Store did not have any, their building was not facing the street. They also had no monument signs, and they were pretty much hidden away. Also, the entrance coming in behind the building, to me, made sense. This does not seem to meet those same conditions.
Okay, thank you. Josh, did you have anything?
Mr. Sula, this is Josh. Can you summarize what Mr. Norentoff said? Because I didn't hear a word of it. I don't think Laura or Brad heard a word of it as well.
Okay.
No.
Okay, basically, Dave was pointing out one of the items that was in our packet, in that when the building was being developed and permitted, staff alerted the developer that there were ways to allow for extra signage, and they chose not to go down that path. Is that fair to summarize?
Correct.
Okay.
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 Yeah, I don't really have questions. I think this goes. We've seen this request come to this board previously, where it's additional signage on the sides of buildings, on the back of buildings, in addition to the allotted signage space, and it becomes an eyesore because we get oversigned, and I've made this stance before. So that's just my comments. It's not really a question. I just would agree that, especially if they had the option to get additional signage when they were building it, now they're coming to us with a special use permit. I think we got to ask ourselves, against the approval standards, is it compatible? I don't know if I'm ready to make an argument specific against that. I think it could be oversigned, specific that I've mentioned, and I've mentioned this in other cases as well.
Okay. I kind of concur with some of the concerns that have been voiced, especially in light of that there's a monument sign right there. That, well, there's two, but there's one right at the entrance into the, for the egress for these buildings, or for this building. So I'm not seeing a compelling reason to make a favorable recommendation on this one myself.
You might want to let the petitioner kind of respond to some of those comments, though, just so we have a complete record.
Okay. Mr. Workman, is there anything you'd like to say?
I do understand your points, and I was not aware of the previous conversation with the developer, obviously. And I can just ask you what they're asking for. And I do understand that there is a monument sign at the entrance to the parking lot there at the Ring Road, and then there's another one out of sight, right, along
Sir,
Route
you may
130.
have to,
Yeah.
you might have to adjust your mic. We're having a little difficulty in hearing.
Is this better?
Yes.
Way
Yes.
better.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, I mean, I do understand your points. Obviously, I was not aware of the conversations previous with the developer. And there is a monument sign here at the entrance to the parking lot, as well as one along Route 132. Sherwin-Williams does, would like to have this sign there, and just serves as further confirmation that their customers are entering the right place and looking at the right building. But I just have to summarize my previous comments, really.
Okay. I have a question for staff. Tracy, the sign that's on the door that's not shown in this exhibit, is that an allowable sign?
I need to double check the size of it. It could be. I meant to do that, but I didn't have a tape measure with me at the time that I went out there, so it looks like it is probably in conformance, but I need to double check that.
Because from my perspective, if that's allowed, it's a fairly large sign, and given the short distance from the road to the building, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Sherwin-Williams is in there, so. Is there anybody from the public on the Zoom call?
No.
Okay, and there's nobody here in chambers from the public, so I'm going to open the floor and close the floor to the public. Is there any other comments by members of the Planning and Zoning Board?
No.
Josh?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, then it would be appropriate for someone to advance a motion at this time, then? Yes, Dave?
Yes, I move that we forward a favorable recommendation to the village board for a special use permit for a second sign for Sherwin-Williams, 6300 Grand Avenue.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Paff. Any discussion? We have a roll call, please?
Bow,
Oh, well, yes.
Nordentoff,
Nay.
Pack,
Nay.
Pasak,
Nay.
Riley,
Nay.
Sula.
Nay, the motion fails. Mr. Workman, as you probably know, we are a recommending body to the village board. The village board has ultimate authority on this particular matter, and staff will let you know when the board will be taking this under consideration. Next meeting is scheduled for September 16th. I do understand that we've got a public hearing that's been noticed for that, so that will most likely occur. There's no one here from the public, so I'm not going to open the floor to public comment. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Paff,
Second?
second by Mr. Nordentoff. Could we have a roll call, please?
Bow,
Aye.
Nordentoff,
Aye.
Pack,
Aye.
Pasak,
Aye.
Riley,
Aye.
and Sula.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the Labor Day weekend, and see you in 2 weeks.
Brad, I can talk.
Aye.
Bye-bye.